Let's look at this, please. Why the disciples of Jesus never understood the mission of the cross.
Created April 17, 2020, we are an assembly of Christians and without the care of our different denominations came together with the sole purpose of rebuilding our world by word of scripture. We are the Our World Group.
I'd like to explain here, please, because this has been worrying many. Many people don't really understand why the disciples were unable to understand the mission of the cross. But I'd like you to understand that there was this perception in the Jewish world. The Jews, they had a perception of a Messiah. The Jewish people had their own perception of who a Messiah was. And this perception dominated their reasoning to be seeing Jesus a different way. The Jewish people held it that a Messiah was someone who was going to come like an army general, a leader to free them from the Roman reign. And so when Jesus came as a suffering servant, they refused to understand him. They refused to accept him. And this explains why the disciples were unable to understand the mission of the cross and were instead arguing among themselves the issue of leadership. Following this perception that the Jewish people they had about a Messiah, there was total confusion. And this is why Christ was rejected. He was tormented. He was persecuted. And they refused totally to admit to what he was saying because they never saw him as a Messiah that they had imagined. So I'd like you to understand this today. If you are that type of a Christian that is still believing like the Jewish people, that is a Messiah is someone who has to come and free you. That a Messiah is someone who is coming like a leader, a proud leader, a governor, someone who has to rule and dominate. That is not Jesus. Jesus was a suffering servant. He was down to earth. Christ was selfless. He lived an exemplary life. And this to us should make us understand that if you want to become a true disciple of Christ, you have to live like Jesus. You have to live just like Jesus did. You have to become a servant to all. You have to be selfless. You have to live a humble life. That is the life that Christ showed us as Christians.